This is a video on how you can create your own Morse Code Translator in the C++ programming language. We're going to start by creating the program called Morse Code Translator. So the first two things that we're going to be including in this program are the header files. The first one is called #include studio.h, and this one includes the standard input and output libraries, which basically allows you to use the keyboard or printing on the screen. The other header is called include stdlib.h, and it's also a header file that includes functions for memory allocation, process control, and more. In this case, I included the header because we are going to be using the exit code to terminate the program if the user decides to no longer type a sentence. And now we can start creating a program by putting the main function, and we're going to start it off with the title. And the line of code that says printf helps the program know that what's inside the quotation marks are going to be written and displayed in the user screen. So I'm going to be putting welcome to the ... and then I'm going to put another printf on the bottom, and this code is special because it allows us to change the color of the title that is going to be displayed as. In this case, I chose the color purple. So then I'm going to write the title Morse Code Translator, and that whole text will be turned into purple. And to save time, here's already the title, and I also used printf, and that will print every row and column that's shown in the Morse Code Translator title. And at the end of every line, you can see a purple N, and that only lets the program know that it will start in a new line. And here I'm just adding a comment saying that all of this section is just the title. And now you want to turn the text back to normal, and we do this because then everything will be purple. And this is the code that resets the color. The next step is to declare the variables, and we do this because we have to let the program know what words we're going to be using throughout the program beforehand. So the first two things we're going to be using is the integer I, which I will be explaining its use later, and also the character choice to give the user the option to type in another sentence or quit. We are also going to be using 3 arrays, which store a collection of elements. The first array is the sentence array. This stores the sentence that the user types in. And then the second array is the Morse array, having 26 letters in total, and some letters will contain a maximum of 5 characters composed of dots and slashes. And now I'm going to type out each of the 26 letters of the alphabet in Morse code. The first one is letter A, which in Morse code is just a dot and a slash. We're going to do this for every letter of the alphabet. The last array is for the numbers. We're basically doing the same thing as before, but this time using numbers. I put a 6 on the second box because the maximum characters for numbers in Morse code is 5, so I wanted to add an extra space just in case. So this is number 1, and then number 2, number 3, and you're going to do the same for the rest. I'm also going to add a legend that will help the user distinguish words, numbers, and punctuations, since Morse code only consists of dots and slashes. Words will be yellow, numbers will be green, and characters or punctuations will be in red. And this is the code for each one. Now I'm going to type, please type a word sentence to be translated into Morse code, and this will appear on the screen. The following allows the user to see the text color purple as they type. The fget stores the sentence that the user types and puts it into the sentence variable, and also measures the size of it. And we also have to reset the text color. And now I'm going to create a do-while statement which serves as a loop. This means that any code inside the statement will repeat while the user's choice is Y, which stands for yes, when they are asked if they want to type another sentence. Inside this loop, I'm including a for statement, which is another type of loop that will repeat a specific number of times. In this case, I directed the program to go through each letter of the sentence, so the range is from 0 to 100, and the I++ is the increment that keeps track of how many times this statement has looped. I'm adding an if statement which helps the program make decisions. This statement tells the program that if it encounters the end of the string, or in other words, the sentence, it must exit the loop as the sentence has already finished. I know that in the blue comments I put that it ends the program, but that's not what it does, it breaks out of the loop. The word else is part of the if statement, but this just means that if the sentence hasn't finished, then continue with the following. And the following will be to help the program determine what letters are being used. To help the program identify the letters, I use the ASCII table, which assigns unique values to every character including letters, punctuation marks, and special symbols. You can see here that lowercase a is 97 and lowercase c is 122. This is why we keep the range from greater than 96 to less than or equal to 123. For the following, I declare that the letter L, which stands for letter, will equal to the first letter of the sentence minus 97. For example, if the first letter is A, then the equation will be 97 minus 97, which equals to 0. To demonstrate the letter into Morse code, we will first set the color of the text to yellow, and then type in the following to display it in the user screen. I put the array called Morse, which is the letter L inside, and this basically helps the program know that since L resulted in 0, it will go into the Morse code array, which was the alphabet turned into Morse code that we did previously, and look for the very first letter, and the first item in an array is counted as 0, not 1, so it will finally display the letter A into the Morse code, which is a dot and a slash. Then we will reset the text to its original color. And we will repeat this 2 more times, but with punctuations and uppercase letters, since they have a different value than the lowercase letters. Here is the range of the values for numbers in case the user types in a number, and we're going to use the same calculations. But the only difference will be that we will have to use the unique values pertaining to numbers, and we are also going to change the text color to green. This is the range for the uppercase letters, and we are going to repeat the same steps as the previous 2 times. Punctuation marks are self-explanatory, so for exclamation marks or periods, I left it the same, and I just changed the color to red. And here I'm just closing all the loops. The middle one pertains for the if-else statement, which contains all of these lines of code, and the last one is for the for statement. And now I'm going to give an option to the user, whether to try again and put another sentence or to exit the program. And the user's decision will be stored in the choice variable. Now I'm going to create an if statement, so if choice is equal to y, which stands for yes, then the program will give the user the opportunity to type in another sentence. The color will be changed to purple and the sentence will be stored in the sentence variable. Now, if the user decides to type N, as in no, then the user will be exited from the program. And lastly, add return 0, which indicates successful termination of the program. Now, since everything is finished, we are ready to compile our code. This is how you compile the code with the name of the program, but when we do so, we encounter some mistakes. Part of being a programmer is to have patience and go fix mistake by mistake, so that's what I will be doing. At the end of the sentence array, I forgot to put a semicolon, so I went to compile it again, and then I found out I needed to fix one more mistake. I opened the program for one last time and I noticed that I was missing a curly bracket. By the 3rd time, it let me compile the program, and now I can use it. To use the program, put a dot and a / along with the name of the program. When I did this, I noticed that some lines were out of order and the text was red, and when I clicked Ctrl+C, everything else is purple, so it has something to do with the changing of colors. When I went back, I noticed that instead of having backslashes, I had a / for each new line. Now, for the color red, instead of having a 0, I had a 9. With these changes, I went back to compile it again. And here's how the program looks like. Since the words at the top are still purple, I'm just gonna open it again. And now, welcome to the is now not purple, And when I type Morse code 123 exclamation mark, words are yellow, numbers are green, and characters are red. The program asks me if I want to try it again, so I type a Y to continue. If I only type numbers, they will appear as green, but you can see if I also add spaces, it will add spaces as well for the Morse code. And this is how you create a Morse code translator in C++ programming language.